I also wanted to ask you about child support.
Sure.
And so how is that calculated
Yeah.
or how is that done?
So about, oh, good gracious, probably been 10 or 12 years ago, Georgia switched to what's called a dual income model. Okay, so we previously had a single income model, meaning we looked at the paying party. In other words, if dad is going to be paying child support, we looked at a percentage of dad's gross income. And so, I forget the percentages now, it was for one child 17 to 23%, for two children it was 23 to 28%, I think that's right, and then 28% and up depending on if you had more children, and then we could deviate from there. The law allowed us to say dad has a really, really high income, we should deviate, or dad has a really low income, or other reasons we needed to go outside those percentages. But that was it. Georgia went to a dual income model. We now have, it's online, people can play with it. It's the Georgia Child Support Calculator. If you Google it, it'll come up. The state of Georgia puts it out there through the Department of Children's Services. And so we now put in both parents' incomes, and they use a metric that creates what, and it's actually a DHS guideline, what would be the representative portion of their income that should be allocated to support children based on their combined household income. So if we have a working mom who makes $50,000 a year and a working dad who makes $150,000 a year, we got a combined household income of $200,000. The worksheet might say for two children, the necessary amount of that should be, I'll just pull numbers out, $2,000 a month for child support. Of the household income, dad in that situation is making 3/4 of the household income, so he should pay 3/4 of the $2,000. Child support is therefore $1,750.
How did that go over in cases that were already calculated? Did they have to go back?
No going back unless they come back to modify it.
Okay.
So parents can come back and say, things have changed, he's making a lot more money, I'm making a lot less money, whatever. The payor says, I lost my job, I took a pay cut, whatever. I need the court to look at this again. So
But this is just now going forward when
yeah,
you go
and
through.
and it's been in place now. We don't see many decrees anymore under the old rules because most of those children would have aged out. I mean, it's been 12 or 13 years since we got the child support calculator. So almost all the children who had child support calculated under the old rules are aged out. Everything now is under the worksheet. And so this worksheet then looks at all the children's expenses the same way. So if we have private school, we allocate them by percentage of household income. If we have extracurriculars, and listen, the extracurriculars have exploded.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be
Yes.
the kid plays baseball, it's $25, to sign up for Little League Baseball. We have parents now that travel baseball, travel soccer.
Yes.
It's not uncommon for us to see household expenses of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year on extracurricular expenses for children. Those are allocated back through the worksheet by percentage of the income. Uncovered medical expenses, deductibles, co-pays. We deal with FSA plans. How do we allocate FSA?
It's gotten a lot more difficult, hasn't it?
Correct.
A lot more to it.
A lot more technical.
Yeah.
Like I say, it used to be, if dad made $100,000 a year, we take 20% of that. It's $2,000. We're done.
Yeah.
There's child support. Now, I mean, it's literally, it's a technical process of taking people through the worksheet and deciding. And some parents want to take stuff out of the worksheet and split it on their own. And that's not uncommon. If we have a situation where we have a mother that doesn't work, so she has zero income, right? Well, dad's going to push back and say, well, I can't pay 100% of uncovered activities and everything else because then she'll just sign them up for everything.
Right.
So every time
And I've heard this from friends who are in that situation.
every time they sneeze, she's going to run them to the doctor
Right.
because I got to pay 100% of it.
Right.
So even within the worksheet, we negotiate, all right, she'll pay 50% of the activity cost to keep a reality check there if he'll pay an increased portion of the medical cost. It's all a balancing act.
Everything's a negotiation.
Everything is, and everything's a balancing act to try to figure out what works for their household. And so the child support calculator, I think when they promulgated the child support calculator, they thought this was going to simplify child support because you just, in their minds, you put the numbers in a spreadsheet and you get an answer. What they didn't realize is if you give more people the opportunity to fight about more inputs, right, the more inputs there are, the more opportunities there are for disagreement. And again, that's where, lawyers that are experienced can say, I can tell you what I've seen work, and I can tell you what I've seen come back.
Yeah.
we've all had cases where the people come in and they say, hey, we did this, and the first thing out of my mouth was, who recommended that? Because I could tell you immediately that was not going to work.